Hey, what's up guys, it's Zeus Maverick. I'm here with the second video of my mini-series about the Zeus DLC for ARMA3. BIS updated the stable branch to version 1.18 this week, which also includes a few changes related to Zeus. So before I'm going to get to the actual topic of this video, I'm going to show you the changes that have been made to the content I covered in the last video and therefore are no longer up to date. I'm not going to do an updated version video of every single Zeus update that comes out, but since I'm already on it with this series, I might as well do it this time. The first thing that catches your eye when you open the Zeus UI and have a player in your field of view is that the SWAT XML logo is displayed in the edit section as well as a group symbol over the player. This only works if the player has an actual SWAT XML set up, so if you're in a community or so which uses SWAT XMLs, you might have that. Otherwise you don't. Another significant change in the UI is the list of recently placed entities. You can access it by clicking on the star on the top right in the create section. The function will create a list with up to 20 recently placed objects, so it will display the last 20 objects, groups, units that you have placed via Zeus, and therefore it's going to be easy for you to refine stuff and place it maybe somewhere else instead of copy pasting it. A few changes have also been applied to setting up waypoint attributes. You have more stuff available now when you double click on a waypoint. It is now possible to select a few waypoint types, for example for transport, loading troops, unloading troops, or fire missions when you have indirect firing weapons like artillery, mortars, or something like that. You can also set a wait until parameter to synchronize waypoints of multiple units and have them all engaged at the same time. Also there's the speed parameter where you can choose if the units are supposed to move slowly, normal or fast, regardless of their current combat mode. When setting up attributes for units or entire groups, similar changes have been made. Also here now you can use the speed parameter to define the speed of this unit or group, regardless of its combat mode. Those are already all the changes I could find regarding user interface and camera, which was the topic of the last video. All the changes regarding Zeus have been made, but I'm going to explain them as I go through the series. Alright, let's get to the actual topic of this video, which are Zeus functions and especially the Zeus modules. You can select those modules via the create section of your user interface. For this video I'm pretty much just going to go down the list and explain you everything on the fly. Because those functions are listed alphabetically, you can find animals at the top. At this point a small selection of animals is available, and by using the module somewhere in your mission you will spawn a group of this type of animal. The only functionality of those animals is to add some ambient life to a mission and make it a bit more real for players, or use them to pull a practical joke on him. The audio module lets you play back music tracks or sound effects hearable for players. When placing one of the modules, a create window will pop up. Here you can define who is going to hear the track, for example side blue 4, or just one group, or just a specific player. From the list below you can then select the desired music track and set its volume. The tracks are categorized in lead, action, stealth and calm. A good Zeus knows when to use what category and what type of soundtrack to create the best ambience for the players. The play radio messages module lets you play back predefined messages, which will be hearable for entire sides, groups or just players, as well as displayed in the chat. It's a quick and easy way to pass standard information on to the players, or to give them a quick warning about upcoming enemy activity in their area.
Enemy shells incoming.
Unlike the play music and play radio message module, the play sound one will not just play back a sound for a short time, but constantly until the module is removed by Zeus. At this point you can only enable a non-alarm sound or explosions or combat sounds in the distance. Those are very nice to create an exciting ambience for the players. Even though the chem lights module is pretty much self-explanatory, I'm still going to show it here. You can use it to create blue, green, red and yellow chem lights, which can be used as points of reference for the players, or again just for ambience purposes. Also the smoke and flare modules are very similar. This is why I'm also going to show them right now. A great combination is chem lights as well as smoke at night time. The use of colored smoke in combination with the chem light, or just white smoke with a colored chem light, looks pretty sweet and can be used to mark a landing zone for a helicopter or so, but only if you don't have to be afraid of enemies detecting you. Using the flare module is a good way to indicate players that they have been detected by the enemies, so whenever they're not behaving stealthy at nighttime, for example, you can send up a flare and then they will know, damn, the enemy knows we're here. Somewhat similar to audio effects and also used to set the mood on a mission are effects. The first effect module is IR grenades. I don't really know why it's in the effects category because it works very similar to flares, smoke or chem lights, but anyway, here it is. IR grenades are infrared beacons. They are only visible in night vision and therefore good to mark friendly positions or landing zones at nighttime. As I hear, they can also be locked on with guided rockets or bombs, meaning if you want an AI aircraft to drop an LGV on something, you can place an IR grenade next to it, and this will make the aircraft engage that target as soon as it's detected. IR beacons are also available as throw items for all the players via ammo boxes, but this is just a module used by Zeus. The Tracers module fits the effect section a lot better than the IR grenades and is again nice for ambience. Placing down the module will affect in a tracer firing to the air, basically AA fire, and you will also be able to hear them when you're within a certain range. My personal advice is to place them about 200-300 meters outside of the AO, so not right where the players are, and combine them with the combat sound module I showed you before. The environment modules are definitely some of my favorites in Zeus, and I almost always use them in my missions. The post-process one lets you change how the game looks with 4 different post-process settings. East one is great for daytime, real is brown, is definitely brown, black and white, self-explanatory, and Mediterranean in my opinion looks best when the weather is bad. Let's see how Eastman looks for the player. The contrast level is set to a higher value, as well as the coloring is quite intense. Personally, I use this for daytime operations because it gives the game a bit more of a HD look. I'm not going to show you the brown one or black and white, they're self-explanatory, but Mediterranean is very good looking, especially for bad weather days. It gives the game a bit of a blue, greyish overlay, which looks great as you will see in a minute. Before I'm going to skip time, let's have a look at the weather. Also here the module can be placed. You can select bad, cloudy, really cloudy, rainy and stormy weather, and then also adjust the fog level. Hit OK and the weather will instantly change for you in Zeus View as well as any other player. It's a nice feature. Personally, the only thing that bothers me about that is that it's instantly changing. I would like it a lot more if what you set there on the module would be like a forecast and the game would slowly change the weather into that within maybe 5 minutes or half an hour or so. So this way it's great to set the weather at the beginning of the mission, but when you intend to change it during the mission it's gonna be a bit of a letdown for the players because it's an instant change and not a slow process. As you can see now, Mediterranean post-process effect is looking pretty good with bad weather. Last module in this category is change time. You can use this to define the starting time of your mission depending on what you got in mind, if it's going to be early morning, bright day or night. Or you can also do a time shift during the mission for like multiple parts of a mission. You can have one starting at daytime and then do a skip into nighttime where another objective has to be completed. That's also why you can skip the time not only within 24 hours, but you can skip it up to 1 week ahead. When doing so, for you as Zeus it will more or less change instantly, while for the players the screen will fade out into black. There will be a message like 2 days later or so, and will fade back in, and then that's the time change. So this can nicely be used to make a good transition between multiple parts of your mission. The fire support modules are fun to help out your team, or if you want you can also use them to engage your team, or at least keep them on their toes. Simply place a module of the desired type on a location and the fire support will come in. The red area is indicating a 100% kill zone, while the orange marker defines the damage zone. To simulate an artillery strike, you can hold down control while placing modules. I advise you to definitely scatter them around and have a few seconds interval to make it appear realistic for players.
Take cover. Artillery inbound.
As you can see, the time to target for those rounds is pretty quickly after placing them. Therefore, when friendly requests artillery, I advise you to wait maybe 30 seconds or even a minute until you actually deliver the artillery to make it appear more realistic as well. The next fire support type is the M230 MLRS, which is a long-range missile delivering a deadly cluster shell. For this type of ammunition, the kill zone as well as the damage zone is a lot bigger than on the other artillery, so it's not advised to place them willy-nilly. But that's what I call very effective fire support and will definitely keep the enemy down, as well as friendlies when they're standing too close. The next fire support type is mortars, very similar to the previously showed artillery types. but with a smaller damage radius and no kill zone. But I guess when you drop a mortar on someone's head, they're still gonna die. Coming to fixed wing close air support, here you can choose the aircraft. I don't have Op4 available now because I'm a Blue 4 Zeus, but I guess if you're an independent Zeus, if you will, you have all the factions available. When choosing gun run and missiles, the red area is indicating where the rockets are gonna hit, while the orange arrows indicate where the gun is gonna hit. Here it's important to grab the module, move it around, and change the attack direction by rotating it. Fixed wing close air support comes in 3 types: guns and missiles, just guns or just missiles. This chapter I'm going to cover objectives. This is used by Zeus to create objectives visible for players if he doesn't want to do everything with verbal orders or just map markers. The first one is an attack/defend objective. Here you can set the attacker's side as well as the defender's side and customize the area size. Then you can give it a custom name, press OK, and you're good to go. The marker will be created on the map, the objective pops up in the tasks and is automatically set as active. Right now we have independent defending and Blue 4 attacking, but as soon as the area is captured by Blue 4, in this case me, because there's no one else around, it will switch the color to the new faction. The defending faction cannot recapture the area. From the player's perspective, you get an entry in the tasks as well as the map. Depending on your game difficulty settings, it will also be indicated as a waypoint on the HUD. The next objective type is control sector. It's kinda similar to attack and defend, but here one faction can capture the area and steal the control. The other faction can then start a counterattack in order to recapture the sector, and this can go on like that forever. You can use this objective type to create some sort of large-scale battlefield type game mode. Also here map markers and tasks will be updated all the time so that everyone is on the same page. At first now the area is black, so it's neutral, and as soon as I capture it as Blue 4 it will turn blue and can be recaptured by another faction. With the custom objective you can create any tasks you desire and assign it to a specific site, group or even just a player. What's different here though is that you have to set its state manually, meaning when the objective that you have written up is completed by a player or unit or group, the objective will not automatically change its state because the game does not detect if it has been completed or not. You will have to do that manually by assigning it first and then set it to completed, failed or cancelled, depending on how the mission develops. You will have to set a destination. By default this objective marker will be where the module is placed, but you can also deactivate that to make it a general objective which is not tied to a specific location. Previously created ones will be saved and you can reload them to use them again on another location in another mission, or just to modify them a bit and make them a new one. By default this objective is set to created, which means it's visible for the players but it's not set to assigned. If you want it to be the current assigned tasks you will have to do that manually. Also, when your team has completed or failed the mission, you will have to adjust the status manually. The get in vehicle objective is pretty simple. You choose the objective type, place it over an empty or also occupied vehicle, define the owner, basically the receiver of this task, and expand the description if you want. Hit OK, the task will be assigned. As soon as the assigned unit enters that vehicle, the task will be completed successfully. Very similar is the move waypoint. Place it on the location where you want someone to move. Set title, waypoint marker, and expand the description. Set the receiver or the owner of this order and you're good to go. As soon as the assigned owner closes in on the location where the module is placed, the task will be successfully completed. The neutralize task is basically a kill order. Place the module over a specific unit to basically attach it to this unit and therefore create a kill order for your team. It works on single infantry units, occupied vehicles, or even empty objects. The objective marker in the map will also follow the unit as it moves around. This however makes it extremely easy for players to find the HVT, so depending on your idea of the mission, you might want to use a custom objective so that the players have to find the HVT first before they can kill him, and you as Zeus set the status to complete it manually. The protect objective works pretty much exactly the same way as the neutralize one, but here the assigned team has to defend a particular unit, vehicle or empty object instead of destroying it. Also here the task marker will be locked to the unit and follow it around, also on the map, and when the unit gets killed or the vehicle destroyed, the task will be failed. Let's have a look at respawns. Even though those modules are available from the create section, they appear not to be plug and play, if you know what I mean. I've done some pretty extended testing, I would say, but as it seems, you cannot simply place those modules and they work. When you play some of the official BIS missions that came with the Zeus DLC, they do work. You can just place them there and whatnot, but as it appears, you have to do some extra coding in the mission to get the proper functionality. The only one that works right away is the vehicle respawn, so you can create a vehicle respawn marker. If you have the vehicle set up as respawnable, it will do that on spot, as you can see right here. But the player respawn as well as the loadout selection requires extra coding as far as I can tell. Should have found out how this works exactly before I do the video 3 of the series where I focus on mission editing, I'm gonna include it there. Under the scenario flow category, you can find modules which are somewhat related to the mission creation and presentation. With the briefing module, you can create specific briefings for one side, just a group, or even just a player. You can write the title and description, or if the location is on Altis or Stratus, even attach a picture with the city name and location to it. Created briefings will be saved and can be reused in another mission on another day. Once you hit OK, the briefing will be attached to the map screen and can be reviewed at any time by the players. So this is definitely a good tool for Zeus to pass on information to the players or present the background story for the mission. The countdown module lets you create a countdown for a mission. It can be set from a duration of like 1 second up to 1 hour, and the selected end type will define how the mission is gonna end once the countdown comes down to 0, meaning mission fail, mission win, or end with best score or something. As far as I can tell, the countdown is only visible for Zeus and not for the players. So if you want to inform them about the duration of the countdown, you will have to do that manually via chat, via voice chat, or via briefing. The respawn tickets module would work together with the respawn modules, obviously. Here you could set the number of respawns available to one side. Right now I have only blue for because I'm the only playable unit in this mission. You can set it from like 1 to up to 500, which will probably be infinite. But since the respawn modules do not work without extra coding, this one doesn't work either. The scenario name module came just in with version 1.18, so that's brand new. As soon as you can write a mission name, like mission test here, and it will be displayed on the lower right corner. Usage, I guess, is that you wait until all the players have successfully joined the session and are active in their playable character, and then that's when you use that module. The end scenario module lets you properly shut down a mission, as you probably used it from like single player or so, without having to force quit the session. So when the players have completed all tasks, you can use the end scenario module to end the mission as completed, failed, or depending on the score type. Writing some notes in the debriefing box will display them afterwards. So this is the outro for a successful mission ending, and I guess players do appreciate it if you end the mission this way instead of just pulling the plug on the server. In the Zeus category you can find the remote control as well as the lightning bolt. As Zeus you can at any time remote control units. This goes for enemy units as well as AI friendly units of your team. So as an example, you can remote control a friendly tank to help out your team in a tricky situation, or a jet or a helicopter, but you can also remote control enemy elements to give your players a hard time. In the first video I showed you the toggle into view of AI, where you basically just can observe what a particular AI is doing, and this is actual remote control, so here you get control. You don't have full control. For example, when you take remote control of a group leader, you will not automatically have control over his group, so you cannot give any orders or whatever. But a single unit has pretty much full functionality, so you can drive vehicles, you can hop into and out of vehicles, you can use the vehicle guns, and also when controlling an infantryman you have full access to his gear, so you can throw grenades and everything. So that's definitely a lot of fun. It's a tool that has to be used responsibly by Zeus though, because as Zeus your job is not to kill your team as fast as possible. Your job is to create a fun and entertaining mission which everyone is able to enjoy. Therefore, when controlling enemy elements, it's a lot more fun for your team if you surprise them with a vehicle or with a machine gun or something, but don't try to kill them directly, just send some suppressing fire their way and they're gonna be busy enough with that. But of course, when they act irresponsibly, you can send some punishment their way. One way to do that is the Zeus lightning bolt. This tool is probably the most high-powered weapon in the entire game, because it can destroy pretty much everything. You can use it just to give your players a warning by having a lightning bolt hit somewhere near them. You can also damage them if you're going closer, or you can actually destroy friendlies or enemies with the lightning bolt when using the module directly on a unit's icon. So also this feature has to be used responsibly to keep the mission entertaining and fun. Alright, we're through with the Zeus modules, and I'm gonna show you some extra features available to Zeus. They're somewhat hidden in the unit creation under the empty section. First of all, a huge selection of empty objects and structures is available to you to enhance your mission and to add some more details. You can spawn small stuffs like a sleeping bag, a campfire or a skull, as well as huge structures like factory buildings, churches or military objects. So this is a nice tool to give your AO a special look or add a specific target building to the mission. Also, single gear items like uniforms, attachments or even weapons can be spawned. The next feature is also very cool. It's customizable ammo boxes. In the ammo section you can spawn one of the default ones, and then if you want, customize its inventory. Place it somewhere on the map and the menu will pop up, hopefully without an error. Here you see the box's content and the amount of each item. The white bar at the bottom indicates how full the box is. So this one is completely full right now. Now you can highlight a single item, hit the minus button, which will remove one item of this type from the box. Doing so will decrease the white bar at the bottom, therefore indicate that you have now again room for other stuff in this particular box. Highlight another item, hit the plus button to add more of this type, or select something else from the list of all available weapons and add it to the box. So therefore customize the content. If you want to create a completely customized box, you can clear its inventory altogether and then start adding individual items. Once you're done, hit OK and the box will be created. Players walking up to the box and using the inventory action will now see the customized loadout that you as Zeus have created. Another function you can find here under the empty category in the unit creation section is placing explosives and basically remote detonating them. You have access to pretty much all the explosive types as well as IEDs, so improvised explosive devices. Those are really nice to set up ambushes for players to scare them and create diversions. To remote detonate them, make sure they're marked via mouse click on the icon and then hit the end button to basically trigger them. This goes for satchels, demo charges, IEDs, claymores, so everything that doesn't have its own detonator. Tripwire mines and bouncing betties on the other hand are like fire and forget mines, meaning you can place them and they will detonate automatically once a player steps on them. So here you don't really have to focus on them and be ready once players are in the area. They will detonate automatically. Another feature is creating intel. It's very similar to the briefing module I showed you before, but here the players have to actually find that intel first before it's available to them. You can select documents, photos or secret documents, but the only difference really is how the item looks for the player in game, but not the functionality. Now you can set the intel nodes. You can choose the site that it's going to be available for, so blue for or any other site or group and player specific. You can reload a previously created intel message. You can give it a title, write a description, and if it's tied to a location on Altis or Stratis, even attach a photo. Once you're done, hit OK and this document item will be added to the game world and can be discovered by the players. When they do, they will get a take intel action while looking at it. By doing so, this intel node will be added to the briefing notes in the map screen and can be reviewed at any time during the mission. As last topic of this functions tutorial, I'm going to show you an alternative respawn variant. In the respawn area of the other interactive empty objects, you can find sleeping bags and tents. As Zeus, you can spawn them anywhere on the mission, and players can pack them up into backpacks, transport them, and deploy them somewhere else to use it as a mobile respawn point. Sleeping bags function as a respawn point of only the player who has unpacked it, while tents are for the player as well as friendly units in the area. A sleeping bag or tent is not tied to a player, meaning any other player can basically steal it, redeploy it, and make it his own. This respawn feature seems to be working without any additional coding, although in my opinion it's not really suited for a military operation, but a lot more for some sort of survival game mode like DayZ, where you have the option to play for yourself, cooperatively with or competitively against other humans. Either way, the functionality is there and you're obviously allowed to use it in any fashion you want. Alright gents, this concludes the second tutorial about the functions, especially Zeus Modules of the Zeus DLC in ARMA3. I hope you guys had a good time watching it. Please give it a thumbs up below and check out the description for additional information. In the next video I'm going to be more focusing on mission editing, but I can also tell you that I'm not going to go too much into detail because there are a lot of Zeus modules for the mission editor, but basically zero information on how to use them. So also for me, as anybody else, it's hard to find something and it's time consuming to actually figure out the stuff and get something done. That's time I don't have, so I'm gonna show you the stuff I already know as well as things I have already done. But to be completely honest, I don't have the time anymore to spend multiple days or even weeks trying things in the editor as I did a few years ago with the ARMA2 tutorials I made. Either way, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to show you some interesting and useful stuff. So stay tuned for video 3 of the series, as well as the 4th one when I'm going to introduce you the CPM curated presets modification with additional Zeus functions. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Zeus Maverick and I see you soon. Loading troops, unloading troops, or fire missions when you have indirect firing weapons like artillery, mortars, or something like that. You can also set a wait until parameter to synchronize waypoints of multiple units and have them all engaged at the same time. Also use the speed parameter where you can choose if the units are supposed to move slowly, normal, or fast, regardless of their current combat mode. When setting up attributes for units or entire groups, similar changes have been made. Also here now you can use the speed parameter to define the speed of this unit or group, regardless of its combat mode. Those are already all the changes I could find regarding user interface and camera, which was the topic of the last video. All the changes regarding Zeus have been made, but I'm going to explain them as I go through the series. Alright, let's get to the actual topic of this video, which are Zeus functions and especially the Zeus modules. Hey, what's up guys, it's Zeus Maverick. I'm here with the second video of my mini-series about the Zeus DLC for ARMA3. BIS updated the stable branch to version 1.18 this week, which also includes a few changes related to Zeus. So before I'm going to get to the actual topic of this video, I'm going to show you the changes that have been made to the content I covered in the last video and therefore are no longer up to date. I'm not going to do an updated version video of every single Zeus update that comes out, but since I'm already on it with this series, I might as well do it this time. The first thing that catches your eye when you open the Zeus UI and have a player in your field, a good Zeus knows when to use what category and what type of soundtrack to create the best ambience for the players. The Play Radio Messages module lets you play back predefined messages, which will be hearable for entire sides, groups, or just players, as well as displayed in the chat. It's a quick and easy way to pass standard information on to the players, or to give them a quick warning about upcoming enemy activity in their area.
Brace yourselves. Enemy shells incoming.
Unlike the Play Music and Play Radio Message module, the Play Sound one will not just play back a sound for a short time, but constantly until the module is removed by Zeus. At this point you can only enable a non-arm sound or explosions or combat sounds in the distance. Those are very nice to create an exciting ambience for the players. Even though the Chem Lights module is pretty much self-explanatory, you can select those modules via the Create section of your user interface. For this video I'm pretty much just going to go down the list and explain you everything on the fly. Because those functions are listed alphabetically, you can find animals at the top. At this point a small selection of animals is available, and by using the module somewhere in your mission you will spawn a group of this type of animal. The only functionality of those animals is to add some ambient life to a mission and make it a bit more real for players, or use them to pull a practical joke on them. The audio module lets you play back music tracks or sound effects hearable for players. When placing one of the modules, a create window will pop up. Here you can define who is going to hear the track, for example side blue 4, or just one group, or just a specific player. From the list below you can then select the desired music track and set its volume. The tracks are categorized in lead, action, stealth and calm. View is that the SWAT XML logo is displayed in the edit section as well as a group symbol over the player. This only works if the player has an actual SWAT XML set up, so if you're in a community or so which uses SWAT XMLs, you might have that, otherwise you don't. Another significant change in the UI is the list of recently placed entities. You can access it by clicking on the star on the top right in the create section. The function will create a list with up to 20 recently placed objects, so it will display the last 20 objects, groups, units that you have placed via Zeus, and therefore it's going to be easy for you to refine stuff and place it maybe somewhere else instead of copy pasting it. A few changes have also been applied to setting up waypoint attributes. You have more stuff available now when you double click on a waypoint. It is now possible to select a few waypoint types, for example for transport,